Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. tmosso@thewatchbox.com is your purchase and pricing question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly for this watch, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a model launched in 2008. This, in black, platinum, and titanium, is the Urwerk UR-202 Edition Spéciale, a timepiece that is representative of Urwerk's flagship offerings, which since their founding in 1997 have been platinum with black DLC external. The look and the feel like nothing else in the industry. Let's take a quick look at the watch on the wrist, because you're dying to know how it fits. The answer is easily. It is 47.9 millimeters from end to end, so it's actually not that broad. Remember, Rolex Daytona is about 51 millimeters, link to link, end links included. So this is actually narrower than that across the wrist. It is thicker, however, at 15.3 millimeters. You can see that the pivot points of the strap are actually underslung and actually further inboard of the case than the edges. So the watch has an even smaller fit than its end-to-end length implies. And from side to side, it's 44.2, but it does not wear like a 44 millimeter watch. And I'm going to show you that now. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, and you can see just how narrow those pivot points for the strap are. This watch is nowhere near overwhelming my wrist. In spite of its size, I think even if your wrist were 13.5 centimeters circumference, you're going to wear it well, just because the pivot centers of the strap are so narrow. It's not going to fit underneath a dress cuff, but a jacket should be okay. You can see it actually has a fairly dramatically sloped case band, and then down the barrel shot, you can see it's nowhere near the edge of my wrist. So the fit here is outstanding, ergonomic, studied, and thoughtful. Urwerk, since 1997, has been a fusion of the watchmaking genius of Felix Baumgartner and industrial designer Martin Fry, and together they have created every Urwerk watch since. Now, of course, Baumgartner is part of the cool club of independent watchmakers, the cool kids in the AHCI, including Vianney Halter, F.P. Journe, Philippe Dufour, and Kari Voutilainen. And Baumgartner was at one point the youngest man to be inducted into the AHCI. So he is part of that group, and this watch is of that stature. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it's custom for the case. The strap's held on with screws and bars, which is reassuring, because with the weight of this watch and the price of this watch, the value is such that you want screws and bars, not spring bars here. You can also see that the strap articulates around the features of the case, so it's been thoughtfully designed and integrated. It is a broad strap. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, tons of bolstering to give it a little bit of volume. You can see it actually uses a folded edge, not a sheer cut edge, a monotone stitch, and then on the underside you can see that it features black calfskin, and this is an Urwerk factory strap in outstanding condition. The buckle is also blackened, but as you can see, just like the material underneath the case, it is made of titanium, and it features both polishing and satination for contrast. You can see that the buckle is actually satinated and then the pin is polished. No attention to detail is spared. Now you can see on the reverse side of the case, the only overt mark that you can see is this little scratch adjacent to the crown. I always want to be honest about pre-owned watches and show you what you're getting. In every other regard, though, condition is excellent. The DLC that's used is of a very high grade and very thick. As a result, even a decade and a half later, you could see that the only marks on this case are my sultry fingerprints. A combination of polish and satin for contrast, it proves that you can have a monotonous color, black, but also have high contrast, and the character lines of the case alternate between sheer and industrial and downright organic and fluid. Now, the watch features a scale that can at first appear a little bit confusing, but it's easy to read. It's inspired by the late Renaissance wandering hours clock combination and, laterally, by the star wheel Audemars Piguet models of the 1990s. But Urwerk does it differently. Now you can see it is a digital display. Here's how it works. See, numeral 9, it's on the 0 to 60 minute scale. It's pointing at 30, so you're looking at 9:30. Now the carousel system features a number of nuances compared to the standard star wheel. First, there's a Maltese cross mechanism used underneath, which is more robust in daily use than a star wheel, which is a sprung system. Watch the length of the index pointing to the scale. It actually moves in and out to trace the scale as the numeral travels across the expanse of the scale. There's more. If you look adjacent to the start of the scale, as we near the end of the 9th hour, the 10th rotates. Watch that spot. You can see 2 becomes 11, 9 becomes 3, then 12, 7 becomes 4, then 1, and so it is not just a carousel, it is also tumbling, it is extending and retracting, and all of that is occurring in a beautifully coordinated pirouette. It becomes second nature easily and quickly. There is a moon phase, which is loomed, and a day-night indicator adjacent, and you can see that that day-night indicator is traveling through its own sweep as the carousel pirouettes. The moon phase likewise. Now there's a lot of fine finish in here, but there's also a lovely contrast between the yellow and red highlights of the actual time-telling scales, and then the various finishes that sit beneath. There's matte black, there's polished black. You can see the facets of the indices are actually polished on their shoulders and then satin finished on their top. The R-cap carousel, R-cap is the alloy used, has a combination of matte and polished facets, and you can really see that to good advantage from this angle. You'll also note that there's engine turning on the surround that frames the carousel. Underneath, a fascinating system. Now, there are 2 turbines here. They are basically air pumps. And then there are these little apertures next to them. And you can see when I set the winding vigor control all the way to free, that allows the winding system, it's a Zenith Elite base in the caliber 702, it allows the winding system to move freely. So the holes are all open to allow maximum passage of air by means of the turbines. So if I am a very sedentary person, I'm going to set the winding system to free, so there's no impediment to its motion, and it will quickly and easily wind the 39-hour power reserve. Now, if I am getting a little bit more active and maybe I want to limit wear and tear on the winding system, I'm going to set it to sport. So that's vigorous activity, but not the most rigorous usage schedule. That occasions stop. Now I have completely locked the winding system, and note how these little apertures that permit the flow of air, they are now closed. So these little air pump turbines can no longer wind the watch. So let's talk a little bit about the movement real quick. Over the years, Urwerk has used various base movements, Girard-Perregaux, La Joux-Perret, and it has settled on Zenith for a couple of decades now. Zenith Elite is what is in the movement, the base of the movement. The top is all Urwerk, so it's their movement on the top and Zenith's movement on the bottom. It is an automatic winder. It is a 39-hour power reserve. It beats away at 8 beats per second. It still does have the stop seconds function when you pull the crown out. It has the day-night indicator. It has the moon phase. All of that pivoting on 34 joules. And, of course, it is 30 meters water resistant. So while it's a sporty watch, you don't necessarily want to use it as an aquatic sports watch. And, yes, this watch is very, very special. All in black platinum. The bottom plates are titanium, but primarily in black platinum. It is a dramatic watch. It has the presence, the gravitas. Even on the wrist, it feels special. Eyes closed, and of course, eyes open. It's like nothing else. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Urwerk UR-202 Edition Spéciale by night. You can see the day-night indicator, the moon phase, as well as the entirety of the carousel and the index scale completely loomed.